some dare call it conspiracy.
Welcome to Some Dare Call It Conspiracy with Brent Lee and Neil Sanders.
As the planet spirals into a fascist dystopia, we thought someone really should keep a record of this decline, so that when the aliens are sifting through the ashes of civilization, they might be able to see where it all went wrong.
This is The World According to Some.
Or as all the hep cats are calling it, twats. Hello everybody and welcome to The World According to Some, or as all the hip cats are calling it, twats. This is us charting the massive descent into dystopic fascism that we're seeing in the world and trying to maybe put a lighter spin on it because, you know, gallows humour is literally all that we've got in this terrible, terrible time. Anyway, so what's happened is Brent has been sort of off social media, which is a very sensible thing to do. And I have taken the complete opposite tactic. And I've been consuming all this and I'm hopefully going to relay it back to Brent. And we can chart it. And hopefully in some future generations, the aliens will come across this and go, oh, that's why they all killed each other. How you been, Brent?
Great, yeah. Being caught up with all of this madness.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is the thing. It is just madness at the minute, which is why we think it's kind of important to just try and at least get a record of this. If only because most of this, in about 3 weeks' time, everyone will go, that never happened. Surely that didn't happen. There's no way that is believable.
It did happen.
So we're on to January the 31st, 2025, and the first thing that happened on this particular day was that Samoa's Prime Minister, Fiami Naomi Matafa'afa, had criticised Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s views and the spread of vaccine misinformation related to the 2019 measles outbreak that claimed the lives of 83 people, mostly babies in her country. You see, this is one of the big sort of things that people contend about RFK, who is currently trying to become the head of the health department or the health services in America. He's on the panel. He said that he wasn't anti-vax, and he denies being anti-vax. He was also asked about his trip to Samoa, and this is something that basically a lot of people may know about, might not know about. The suggestion is that Kennedy was at least partially responsible for the deaths of 83 people, mostly babies, due to a measles outbreak in Samoa. Now, what happened was Kennedy, he visited Samoa in 2019, and this was 4 months before a measles outbreak was declared. It wasn't an official visit, but he did meet with some government representatives and also anti-vaccine influencers and health advocates and experts. They claimed this was basically a disinformation campaign that ultimately stoked a huge amount of distrust in vaccines, which led to a drop in vaccination rates and 83 deaths. This is crazy, basically. Like RFK was questioned about this at the hearing for the upcoming position, and he claimed that he could not possibly be responsible for this measles outbreak because he was in Samoa before the measles outbreak started. Which doesn't really make any sense, does it?
Well, no.
like in fact, that would mean that
I'm not. I'm only responsible for it if it's happening when I'm there.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. It happened after you arrived, and just to elaborate a bit, because he has denied this a lot. Basically, there was a documentary called "A Shot in the Arm." This is from Mother Jones. He appeared in a documentary in 2023 called "Shot in the Arm," which is it's an anti-vax documentary. So it's talking about how vaccines potentially aren't safe, yada, 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 yada. And basically in it, he talks about this visit to Samoa in 2019 that claimed the lives of 83 people, mostly children. Kennedy said, I'm aware there was a measles outbreak. I had nothing to do with people not vaccinating in Samoa. I never told anybody not to vaccinate. I didn't go there with any reason to do with that. But he's being disingenuous, basically. He was there with this company called Children's Health Defence, which is a non-profit anti-vax outfit, and he led this organisation right up until his presidential campaign, which was last year. And they helped spread information that massively contributed to the decline in measles vaccinations that preceded this outbreak of measles, which led to all these deaths. And basically what he did was he lent credibility to anti-vaxxers, which some people have alleged led to vaccine hesitancy. So what happened? Well, in 2018, there was 2 children, infants, were receiving their measles vaccine, and they died. And this is obviously horrible. And everybody was looking at it, and the Children's Health Defence decided to exploit these deaths to raise questions about vaccine safety, saying that the vaccination was clearly the cause of the deaths of these 2 children. And the vaccination rate apparently plummeted from 60 to 70% to 31% at that time. So what happened to these children? Unfortunately, they weren't injected with vaccines. They were injected with a muscle relaxant. These 2 nurses had mixed up these vials of medicine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was an absolute tragedy, a complete mistake. But it wasn't a vaccine. It was a medicine death, yes, because you shouldn't give muscle relaxant to infants. Yes, tragedy, but this was exploited by Robert Kennedy's organisation. And he also had a meeting with a bloke called Taylor Winterstein, who's a prominent Samoan Australian vaccination anti-vaxxer. And she wrote on her Instagram with a picture of her and Kennedy, "I'm deeply honoured to be here in the presence of a man I believe can and will change the course of history. This was a divinely timed, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I will cherish forever the conversations and moments we shared in Samoa." So he did go over there to meet this prominent anti-vaxxer.
Well, I do think she's right as well. I do think this is a man who's going to change the course of history.
Yes,
and make America sick again. It is absolutely terrifying, don't you think? Like someone like him potentially becoming health secretary, the equivalent of. It's like, Dr. not a doctor C. I won't say his full name. Like it's like him coming to be that, or Malhotra.
Yeah. Well, isn't Malhotra
terrifying?
But isn't Malhotra actually currently trying to ingratiate himself with the American administration? It's ridiculous.
Well,
basically.
Probably, but like I'm saying though, imagine that here.
Yeah.
Imagine if someone like that becomes health secretary. Like, oh my God, it's just terrifying.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
Terrifying.
Yeah. Andrew Wakefield put in charge of it or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Kennedy's gone to Samoa and he's met with this Taylor Winterstein, but he claims that it's absolutely complete by chance that he happened to bump into her, even though they basically have very similar views about this very specific thing. But
and she probably paid for his flights.
Well, she didn't pay for his flight, but the trip had been arranged by Edwin Tamasesi, who's another prominent Samoan anti-vaxxer, and it was paid for by the organisation Children's Health Defence. So for some reason, this organisation had spoken with a prominent anti-vaxxer, had gone over to Samoa, bumped into another prominent anti-vaxxer, right? And then they'd helped basically spread anti-measles vaccination propaganda throughout.
And disinformation.
Yeah, basically. So after this measles outbreak strikes in November 2019, and the Samoan government implemented an emergency compulsory anti-measles vaccination program to contain the spread, Winterstein and Tamasesi opposed the effort with misinformation and harsh rhetoric, and these are the 2 people that have interacted with Kennedy. Winterstein compared the operation to Nazi Germany, whereas Tamasesi called it a killing spree and declared that the vaccination was the greatest crime against our people and suggested that the vaccine itself was the cause of the outbreak. He also advocated against the use of conventional medicine and antibiotics and urged people to rely on papaya leaf extract and vitamins instead of the vaccine and antibiotics. And also, what Robert Kennedy did was he wrote to the Samoan Prime Minister, and in this letter, he suggested that the vaccine was the real culprit in the deaths of these 83 children. So, he may not have strictly sort of been out there and told anyone specifically not to take the vaccine, as he said in that documentary. But he's very, very, very heavily implied it, and certainly has been in the circle, seemingly offering support to people that very, very much did say that sort of thing. So, yeah, disingenuous at best, basically. Another person who's disingenuous at best is Prince Andrew, the Duke of York. Well, guess what? It transpires that he was in contact with the US sex offender and friend of Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein, longer than he previously admitted. And this actually came out because certain emails were published in a court case. And they appear to show an email that Andrew sent to Epstein that says, "Keep in close touch and we'll play more soon," which doesn't sound great. So the court documents are from the UK's Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA, and basically this email was apparently sent in February 2011. But if you remember his BBC Newsnight interview where he famously said that, it couldn't have been me sweating on top of that young girl because I don't sweat. And I specifically remember that night I was in Pizza Express. Where was it? It was somewhere
Woking
ridiculous.
or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. I remember specifically, fun times at that Woking Pizza Express. It's seared into my brain like a brand. Like, come on. But anyway, in that interview, he also claimed that the last time he'd ever seen or spoken to Epstein or had any contact with him was in December 2010, when he'd actually been photographed going to his townhouse in New York, which he described as a wrong decision. But apparently to the court documents on February 27th, 2011, Epstein emailed, "Jess Stately will be in London on next Tuesday afternoon if you have time." And there was a reply from a member of the British royal family with a question, "Jess is coming on the 1st of March or next week." So the court documents say that there was a discussion of press articles and then the message, "Keep in touch and we'll play more soon." And Jess Staley, just so people know, is a banker who was actually banned from senior positions in the financial services industry over claims that he himself had not fully revealed the extent of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. So it looks like potentially Prince Andrew had lied. I mean, I think a lot of people suspected that he was lying, particularly in that interview. But it just raises questions, doesn't it? Because it's like, I mean, technically, he might. I didn't see him. I just emailed him. Okay, I know I didn't speak to him. I just emailed him. But that's
still contact.
It's slippery, isn't it? But
yeah.
At best, it's completely slippery. So there we go. But the long and short of it to take is that Prince Andrew seems to be lying about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Again, and it's just crazy, isn't it? But he'll get away with it because, of course, he will. Speaking of people who might have nefarious relationships with terrible, terrible people, Tulsi Gabbard, she's being interviewed as well. Basically, she's going for the head of national intelligence. And we will talk about her more in a later episode, right? But just at the minute, all that was happening on this particular day was that she was being interviewed for the position at a hearing similar to RFK and Kash Patel. They're trying to vet these people for Donald Trump's cabinet, but the problem is that basically it requires quite a lot of people to not want these people to go in on both sides of the party, otherwise they'll just get in. Like Peter Hesketh has got in, he's not qualified to do the job. RFK in the future has got in, he's not qualified to do the job. Another person who a lot of people have got serious doubts about is Tulsi Gabbard. Anyway, in this, she sticks up for TikTok. There's a problem with TikTok at the minute. There's a suggestion, and people like Alex Jones used to be all over this, but all of a sudden they're not so bothered. In fact, I'm sure Trump used to be really bothered about this, but for a reason he's not anymore. The long and short of it is that basically TikTok, it's run by the Chinese government, or is suspected to be run by the Chinese government, and may be stealing data, and may also be a sort of subtle form of mimetic warfare, by which they spread and popularize trends through videos, and this is aimed at children
and surveillance
as well. Absolutely. So there's all these potential reasons why TikTok might be bad, but Tulsi Gabbard decides that she doesn't care about that, and she thinks it's absolutely fine. She also denies closeness to Russia and closeness to Syria. And again, all of this sort of stuff is really things that the conspiracy crowd should be completely against. But Alex Jones, he absolutely loves Tulsi Gabbard and thinks that she's absolutely perfect for the role, and made a big deal about supporting her. Now, there were certain senators who were, shall we say, skeptical, and that said that she was completely unfit to serve as a national intelligence director because of questions over her judgment in past statements on Vladimir Putin's legitimate security concerns. And what that is a reference to the concept that Putin was justified in his invasion of Ukraine because the Russian bear was being poked by NATO, essentially, which is utter complete nonsense. It's absolute bullshit. And it completely ignores the reason that NATO as an entity exists. So that could be considered pro-Russian propaganda. It's certainly in line with what the Kremlin has said. Also, in Ukraine, in 2017, she went to visit Assad. She met the dictator of Syria in Damascus, which has never really been adequately explained. She really shouldn't have been there. She wasn't there in an official capacity. It looks very, very dodgy. And also, she maintained her support for Edward Snowden. Now, people might have varying views about Edward Snowden, because he did reveal a lot of stuff about the surveillance state in America. Latterly, the opinion seems to be that he might have been groomed to release this stuff by Russia, because he's in exile in Russia. Doesn't mean that the information that he said is not true, but it's a framing of America as particularly bad, which feeds into this idea that Putin is somehow a man of the people, which is nonsense. So there's a bit of nuance to that, but for the head of national intelligence, Snowden stole American secrets and is now being protected by an enemy of the state, essentially. So the incoming head of national intelligence probably should be opposed to that. But although she admitted that he had broken the law, she refused to condemn him as a traitor. So interesting. But we'll talk about Tulsi Gabbard in a little bit. Do you follow MMA at all, Brent?
Who?
MMA, the UFC and mixed martial arts and stuff like that.
I thought that was a person, Emma May.
Oh right.
No.
No.
I'm pretty much allergic to sports.
No, fair enough. The reason that this next thing is brought up is for two reasons. One, because it's one of those things where you just go, he did what? Oh dear. That's embarrassing. But two, because this person is somewhat embraced by the conspiracy crowd at the minute. I'm talking about Conor McGregor, and the reason that Conor McGregor is being embraced by the conspiracy crowd is because he's
a prick.
Well, yeah, because he's a prick basically, but he's also sort of kind of throwing his hat into the ring. to get into politics and potentially becoming president of Ireland. And he said some really basically kind of grim stuff, basically. Like he's done the whole sort of like the government is a destructor of small businesses, blah blah blah, etc. He put out this particular tweet: as president, I hold the power to summon the dial and as well as dissolve it. So as I've said before, I would have all the answers the people of Ireland seek from these thieves of the working man, these destructors of the family unit, these destructors of small businesses, and on and on and on. These charlatans in their positions of power would be summoned to answer the people of Ireland, and I would have done it by day end, or I would be left with no choice but to dissolve the dial entirely, which I believe is some part of the Irish Parliament.
I like the dog whistle straight out the gate.
Yeah.
About-
The family unit,
Family
thieves of the
unit, yeah.
unit, is working man, destructors of small business, yeah, all of that. Like, this is a man that bought a pub and banned. Right, he went into this pub, a random pub, was handing out shots of his whiskey, which wasn't on sale in the pub. An old man said that he didn't want to drink whiskey, and so Conor McGregor punched him in the face. Right? He got into a little bit of trouble, not as much as he should have done, and in an act of petty, childish petulance, Conor McGregor bought the pub and banned the old man.
What, like I said,
What a prick. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, he's also, as far as I can tell, has sort of made sort of kind of noises that intimate sort of far right positions. He's also been seen with Donald Trump and people like that. So, you know, this is potentially why he's getting the response that he's getting. A lot of people are like, yeah, he's a bit like a Donald Trump figure, isn't it, basically? So what happened was he put out a tweet and he left it up for about 15 minutes before deleting it. But this website called MMA Junkie captured a screen grab, sorry. And Khabib, I can never pronounce his name. Khabib Nurmagomedov. I've massacred that. I think he's Dagestanian or something like that. Basically, he's an MMA fighter and absolutely destroyed McGregor, embarrassed him. Some say ended his career, took all his confidence away from him. Was talking to him whilst he was beating him in the octagon, going, "Come on, let's talk now." He humiliated him, absolutely humiliated him. And this was because basically in the build up to the fight, Conor had been trying all of these things to get under his skin, but he'd started having a go at his family, he'd started having a go at his religion, he'd started just being a prick. But he took it far, far too far with this guy.
I think I could kind of remember this. Is he Islamic?
After the fight where Khabib... Yeah, that's him. And after the fight where he choked him out, he jumped over the octagon wall and beat up one of Conor McGregor's entourage as well. Like, Jesus. This guy's a fucking monster. He's unstoppable. He's got a record of 29-0-0. He's incredible.
I do remember headlines way back in the day about it. I remember Conor saying something like quite Islamophobic.
Yeah.
And myself thinking, I hope that guy beats him to a pulp. But I never knew what happened after
He beat him to a fucking pulp. He absolutely dominated him. And made him tap out with a rear chokehold. But Conor's held a grudge ever since. Now, Khabib showed a picture of his wedding day, and I'm not sure if it's an Islamic thing, or it's a cultural thing for his particular country. It's probably a combination of these things. In the picture, and it might be something to do with not allowing photos to be taken, because in the picture he's sat there, what looks to be a wedding banquet, and his wife has got like a really beautiful lace garment over her head, so you can't see her. It's acting like a veil, but it is quite, thick, essentially. So Conor McGregor sensitively tweeted out, "Your wife is a towel, mate." Yeah, it gets worse. He decided that was probably he couldn't really get away with it, so he deleted that tweet, and then he decided to tweet something out. Now, I'm going to say the word ninja a lot in this. That's not what he typed.
Okay.
Yeah. So, he decided to put out on Twitter, after removing that one.
I'm already thinking of this scenario. How did you remove that one and then you're going to say something else?
Wait, just wait.
Oh my God.
15 minutes I done Aldo, 15 seconds. I presume that's a reference to a colleague of Khabib's that he beat in a fight. Show yo wife, ninja. Show yo kids, ninja. You cousin fucking motherfucking hiding motherfucker. Show us you and your cousin's kid together. Because we have kids here in Ireland that want to smoke them in competition. Are they competing? Or what are you saying? Ireland versus Dagestan? Where's your offspring? We can't wait to see them. The best of Dagestan's offspring? Dagestan. What do we think? Is this true? Who's next? 'Cause Fatso with the coach whistle won't fight. Who the fuck designated this fat bitch as master father? Certainly not his own father. Abdul Manap. And they all know it in Dagestan. Dagestan thinks you are pussy lips for retiring. Real Dagestan is forever. You are laughed at behind your back in Dagestan. Lazy you are, they say. Fight me and make $100 million and give it to the entire village of Dagestan. But you won't. Why? Fat, lazy, scared bitch. Lazy fatso. I mean, cocaine is a hell of a drug.
And there's a great example of why we should have character limits on Twitter again.
It was
Wow,
mental.
What
that was in the
should
afternoon.
have just stuck with the towel tweet.
Yeah,
Like, you didn't have to. What?
Dropping M-bombs all over the place.
The towel thing isn't enough. I've got something better for you.
This was in the afternoon. This is like 4:00.
Wow.
He's clearly coked off his tits and decides that that's a good idea. But, you know, this is the guy that some people think should potentially be the president of Ireland.
I can only imagine the other guy doing like the Homer meme of backing off into the bush.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? No, Khabib just smash it. He's retired. He doesn't need
He
it.
just like walks in and is like, yeah, I think I'll
But that's
just
the other thing
go
as well.
away for a minute.
It's so
It's best
pathetically
for both of us if I walk away.
Well, it's so pathetically obvious. It's like, oh, you're trying to goad him into fighting you because, well, two reasons. Well, several. One is he's just lost a lot of money in a lawsuit because he apparently raped a woman. There's apparently more lawsuits coming. And he's pissing through his money like nobody's business because it's all going up his fucking nose. So it's sad, really. It's just sad on a number of levels. And he would be an absolutely appalling president. Completely appalling.
Well, that's evident.
Speaking of appalling presidents...
Oh, not him again.
Yeah, Donald Trump's back. He ordered the USDA to take down websites that reference the climate crisis. That's the US Department of Agriculture. So the landing page...
like federal websites or
government. Any government website that has a reference.
Take down all of journalism.
yeah, to purge the internet, like that leaked picture of Billie Eilish that you can no longer find. Anyway, so basically, he's decided that he wants to remove any reference to climate change or the climate crisis from any government website. So the landing pages on the United States Forest Service website for key resources, research, and adaptation tools, including those that provide vital context and vulnerability assessments for wildfires, had gone, leaving an error message or just a single line that said you are not allowed or you're not authorized to access this page. Wow. That's not a clever idea. Because obviously it's very, very clear where he's coming from. He's coming from this idea that climate change isn't real, which is essentially pushed by the oil companies, which he just so happens to be, have relationships with, shall we say.
Yep.
So,
well, this is Project 2025.
Isn't it? It absolutely. But what's so crazy is if you remember, like all the fuss that he was making about the California wildfires, and
Yes.
now he's taken vulnerability assessment pages that would show people where potential wildfires can break out. He's taken those off the website.
Yeah. Which reminds me, like, I did see a really funny meme. Do you know Smokey the Bear in
Yeah.
America?
Yeah.
And it's like, only you can stop forest fires.
Yeah.
No, seriously, only you can. We've been defunded.
Yeah.
It's up to you now.
I'm afraid it is.
It's a class.
Yeah. Oh, bless. But yeah, I mean, but this is, again, it's just indicative of the sort of like the purges that are going on through the Department of Government Efficiency, Donald Trump. It's a fucking clown show. It's an absolute circus. You've got all these people in positions of power that aren't qualified, shouldn't be doing anything, have got massive conflicts of interest and things in their past that should stop them from ever being anywhere near a government building. And yet they're being given power. Like, I cannot help but watch this, be watching this and just going like, this is fuck. This is like this it's ridiculous. Like, you're watching the sort of the meteor come towards the planet, and everyone's just going, "I'll be fine." Like, it's very much like that film Don't Look Up. It's like, shut up, you woke libtards. Like, you know, don't tell us not to. Don't tell us that the world's going to end. We just don't want that negativity in here. So. But. Well, hey ho, we're now on to the 1st of February. And in the 1st of February, well, actually, it was just before, basically, but it was reported on the 1st of February. Carolyn Leavitt, who we may remember is the 27-year-old press secretary for the White House, she stated that it is now a fact that COVID-19 originated from a lab in Wuhan, China, and wasn't a zoonotic disease that came from the market. She said,
did that come out?
Well, Carolyn Leavitt said it. She said, I would just like to point out that several years ago, when I was working in the press shop and President Trump would take this podium to brief the American people on COVID-19, he suggested that COVID very well may have come from a lab in Wuhan, China. Many members in this very room mocked him for saying that, saying he was spewing conspiracy theories. He was not. And we now know that to be the confirmable truth. And the Biden administration had the chance to let the American people know about that. And for some reason, they chose not to. Interesting. Now, there is a fundamental problem with her statement. It's quite a big one. It's not true. She's just fucking made it up.
She's literally what's the source?
There is no source. No, there's no source. She doesn't offer a source, and as far as we can tell, this is simply not true. There was a bit of a drama a while ago. People said that elements of the American government had come out with this as well and decided that COVID was a thing. It wasn't really the government. It was this stupid committee with the government that has been saying that it was a lab leak forever, and they didn't provide any evidence. That was their common sense conclusion. Now, anybody that's actually looked at this, like people in the field of virology and stuff like that, have looked at it and looked at the way that the virus is constructed and gone, no, this isn't man-made. We can see, we can track the zoonotic process or whatever of how it altered and how where it came from.
Yeah.
It's something to do with pangolins and things, wasn't it? But anyway, but again, this is the press secretary of the United States of America lying to the general public, just lying, and it's terrifying, really, because it just shows that truth doesn't matter anymore, but also crazily, there doesn't seem to be any consequences for this, or not yet. Who knows what might happen? Do you know what I mean? Because you can't continue at this sort of level of unreality until reality will at some point smack you in the face. Yeah. But
this is that post-truth world, and like I said, this is why we definitely should do something about Roger Ailes.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
and
Yeah.
explain like this is kind of where it comes from.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Totally. The architects of this just collapse. I mean, Rupert Murdoch is at fault as well. But
Yeah.
yeah. And what's crazy is about this is that they're going full bore. Everything seems to be going in the wrong direction, and the MAGA crowd seem to be loving this because they have this persecution complex. This literally this idea of the deep state, and this sort of reinforcement that anything that was said that was bad against Trump or Trump supporters was clearly a lie. And so what Trump has done is he's decided that he's going to fire those who are involved in prosecuting rioters at January 6th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this led to about 24 Justice Department employees involved in the Capitol riot cases were sacked. The Trump administration has fired a group of Justice Department prosecutors involved in the 6th of January criminal cases, and then also, and this is really sinister, demanded a list of the names of FBI agents involved in the investigations so that they can also be sacked.
This is crazy, man.
It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it? This is like, it's literal, it's
I'm not even being
totalitarianism.
yeah, exactly. I was going to say I'm not even being hyperbolic here, but this is straight up authoritarianism, totalitarianism. This is straight up fascism, Hitler, Mussolini. This is the playbook, man. Like,
Yeah.
just rounding up your enemies, basically. The only difference is currently is that he's not rounding them up and shooting them.
No.
He's just sacking them.
Yeah, absolutely. But these are the people that this is so clearly like personal. It's a vendetta.
Yeah.
And it builds up this narrative that essentially that all those investigations and all those prosecutions were wrong. I mean, he has pardoned them all and stuff like that. But this is just going even further. He's pardoned the people involved in January the 6th. But this is ridiculous. This is it's too far. It's going far too far. But so there's these 24 employees at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington. They were terminated on a Friday evening. Can you imagine that? The president sacked you on a Friday evening. Why? Because you did your job.
Wow.
Yeah. But also, they've issued NDAs. So the people that spoke completely in anonymity because, like, they've been told you're sacked. You're not allowed to talk about it, which is fucked. This is the sort of thing that is authoritarianism. This is the sort of thing that Alex Jones and people like that should be going absolutely crazy about, like absolutely fucking nuts about. But it's ridiculous. So,
but hey, their guy is doing it, so it's okay.
Yeah. So these 24 employees, they've all been sacked by the acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove, who's a Trump appointee. She basically ordered the firings, and it went through. The thing is, though, obviously she's also asked for the names of all the FBI agents that investigated anything that happened on January the 6th, intimating that they're going to be sacked as well. That runs into thousands. There's thousands of FBI agents who investigated it because there was thousands of crimes.
And thousands of people involved.
Well, there was 1,500 people that were released from prison, wasn't there, or something? Or was that the amount that were imprisoned? I forget. But so there's going to be a lot of staff covering the investigations into these people. Like, it's ridiculous. But what's even more troubling is that basically, like, if we remember, the nominee for the director of the FBI's position is Kash Patel. Kash Patel, in his book and also in various podcasts and other media appearances, has talked about rooting out anti-Trump conspirators and having an enemies list, which he wants to purge, which is, again, just insane. Just absolutely insane. Like, if this was happening in any other country, like, people would look at it, Americans would look at it quite rightly and go, wow, look at that unfettered corruption. Like it's a tin pot country. It's banana republic, whatever you want to say. Like the point where basically corruption is so endemic that it just becomes part of the state, and it's like it's
Is
crazy.
it kleptocracy?
Yeah. That a technocratic kleptocracy, which is everything that like the conspiracy crowd should be fighting against. Basically, absolutely insane, batshit. Right, but speaking of batshit, Candace.
I was going to call this before we decided it was going to be called twats. I was trying to find some wordplay for guano.
Yeah.
Like that's what this would be. But yeah, I couldn't think of anything, and then obviously you came up with twats, so we kind of
Nice.
But yeah, guano.
Guano.
What the hell do you guano? Or
What's
something
guano
like that.
on? Yeah, something like that.
So-
There's something there. Yeah, we could have worked with that. But anyway, Candace Owens, and some say this might be because she's desperate for attention. She's been spiraling, obviously, like since she got sacked by Ben Shapiro. Possibly, she claims it was for her support, or for her condemnation of Israel. But the problem with Candace Owens' condemnation of Israel is it all seems just a bit distasteful, particularly when in the past she's defended Hitler and defended Nazi Germany, and just because of the shit that she's involved with, you just tend to think, grim, even if there might be legitimate criticisms of Israel. But anyway, this isn't what that's about. She seems to be desperate for attention. She's putting out a film, and the topic of this film is that Bridget Macron, the wife of Emmanuel Macron,
Oh no!
yeah,
I know where this is going.
is secretly a man. I googled it, right? Okay, it takes 3 seconds. Picture of Bridget Macron as a young girl. There's loads of pictures. It's like it's fucking bollocks. It's absolute bullshit. It's just a way to basically be mean.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. There was some cold comfort that amused me to a degree. Off the back of this, hashtag Candace is a man started trending on Twitter.
If you can't beat them, join them.
People started sending out photoshopped images of Candace when she was a young man. Ian Miles Chong got into a huge back and forth with her, which is ironic because if you remember, certain people have been spreading photoshopped images of Ian Miles Chong suggesting that he was a trans lady. Like they're all childish, hateful shits, and they all will backstab each other and just like turn on each other at the drop of a hat because they're all completely self-serving.
Yeah, it is some serious playground shit.
Yeah, there was something else that again, this is kind of playground, but it's amusing. Do you remember when Candace Owens threatened but didn't follow through with suing Cardi B?
Yeah,
Like, do you know what that was about?
go on.
Well, what had happened was that Cardi B had spread. She got into a back and forth with Candace, and her sort of final sort of thing was she said, "Everybody knows that your husband is secretly gay, Candace, and that you are a beard essentially for her husband George Farmer." This is what Cardi B said, and it's like, wow, that's some incredible rumor. If there's anything to that, obviously nobody knows if there's anything to it at all. Like, and really, like it's their own business. But Candace is a terrible person, so it's amusing to watch people throw shit around like this. And it's like, where did this idea come from? It comes from two concepts, right? One, apparently their courtship was very, very quick. I think they met and were married in like a week or something. And two, and this is definitely like not what I would call reliable, but this is where it came from. In 2022, the Breitbart editor Raheem Kassam accused George Farmer, who was the husband of Candace Owens and friend of Andrew Tate, of sexually assaulting him. And he tweeted out, "I know more about this world than I care to. Mercer tried to get me to tell Bannon to shut up about populist nationalism. I was the guy who hired Milo at BNN. Farmer has sexually assaulted me. Candace blocked me for calling her sham marriage out. I know this from all angles." And that was in 2022. Right? Raheem Kassem is not a trustworthy person. Right, okay. And that is not what could be constituted as evidence. But that is what Cardi B was talking about when she had a go at Candace Owens. So, it's interesting, isn't it? Because basically, like, Candace Owens is a purveyor of conspiracy theories, and it just shows how easy it is for anything to be molded into a conspiracy against you.
Totally.
It is a little bit, as you say, live by the sword, die by the sword, I'm afraid. And, if it was anybody pleasant, I'd be like, that's a bit low doubt, isn't it? But it's Candace Owens, so, we can get around that.
Again, back to the playground. When someone punches the bully in the playground, that's quite funny.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I don't think Cardi B is necessarily a fabulous person either. She certainly, she does that interview where she was talking about how when she used to be a stripper, she would drug men and then steal their money, and which is not, poor form. But hey, everyone's got a pass. One thing that was also getting troubling was that the DOGE director, Elon Musk, decided that basically he's in control of government departments, and he shut out senior government workers and seized control of key workflows in the Office of Personnel Management, which caused major security concerns, and this was reported in Reuters. And this might be a bit of a theme from this date onwards. Elon Musk trying to take over government departments, potentially not knowing what he's doing, and shutting down all sorts of things that he's claiming is fraud, that he's not showing any evidence of fraud. It just seems to be stuff that he doesn't like for some reason. So the Office of Personnel Management functions as the government's human resources agency. It manages policies, payments, recruitments, and labour relations. So government aides working for Elon Musk took over the office's enterprise human resources integration database, which contains personal data of millions of federal employees. They said, two agency officials said to Reuters, "We have no visibility into what they're doing with the computer and data systems. This is creating great concern. There is no oversight. It creates real cybersecurity and hacking implications." And they also put out a tweet, and this is highly irregular. A government department having to alert the public via a tweet. This is from the National Park Service. Elon Musk's staff has been caught installing hard drives inside the Office of Personnel Management, the Treasury Department, and the General Services Administration. His staff encountered resistance when demanding that Treasury officials grant access to systems managing the flow of more than $6 trillion annually to programs like Social Security and Medicare. Tensions escalated when Musk's aides were discovered at OPM accessing systems, including a vast database known as the Enterprise Human Resources Integration, which contains sensitive information such as dates of birth, social security numbers, performance appraisals, home addresses, pay grades, length of service for government employees. In response to employees speaking out, Musk's aides locked civil servants out of the computer systems and offices with reports of personal items being searched. So they've literally done a coup for all intents and purposes. They took staff over to an agency that they have absolutely no jurisdiction over, and going completely outside of normal government safeguards and regulations, got his staff to basically access the hard drives of all of these sensitive databases.
And what department is that again?
Well, there were various ones that he went into. He went into the Office of Personnel Management, the Treasury Department, and the General Services Administration. The Treasury Department,
Wow.
he has access now to the coffers of America.
Yeah.
$6 trillion.
And all the data that comes with that.
Oh, the data. I mean, this is what's so stupid. Is like people on the internet are going like, I don't care if he's got my social security number. It's like, you did. This has always been a massive thing. That's essentially one of the things that Edward Snowden and people like that were talking about, because they use this data to build pictures of you and to manipulate you. Like, data is the new commodity, right? That's fucking hell. People used to be suspicious of like getting club cards at supermarkets because they're compiling data against you and stuff. And then, like, you know, with social media, everyone's somewhat softened because they're fucking idiots. Like, but there's still an awareness that that's not a good thing. Like, you know, at a very, very sort of like basic level, you know, those fucking annoying phone calls that you get with people trying to sell you shit, or like sign you up to insurance or whatever, put you on a new phone program or whatever the fuck they're called. Like,
tariff.
Thank you. Like, God, I'm a technical illiterate.
You want to be on a new phone program?
Yeah. Where does it plug into the wall? Anyway, so people are aware that this is a bad thing, but MAGA lot were basically going, "I trust Elon Musk," and again using this stupid idea. Elon Musk has got all the money in the world. He's not interested in money. Do you know how he got all the money in the world? A vested interest in money. A massive. That's like his main hobby. Money and rockets, which is essentially to make more money. Like, come on. Like, people are absolutely stupid. But yeah, so this is the unelected foreigner, by the way, which a lot of people should be sort of cross about if they you know, if they were sticking to any sort of like level of consistency, with no oversight, no safety, basically accessing loads of people's data and government infrastructure that completely outside of the Constitution, completely outside of law, completely outside of government. What's the fucking point of having government if you just let some billionaire? This is an oligarchy. Like, it's so crazy. But hey ho. And speaking of crazy, Tommy Robinson fans decided that they wanted to have a rally in London, and there were chants of "We want our country back," which was held in the capital city of the country, and "We want Tommy out," which I believe means out of prison, not out of the closet. And they would say basically also lots of protesters carrying flags bearing classy slogans like "Free Tommy Robinson" and "Stop the boats," which is obviously a reference to people coming across the channel in boats. A lot of people there were wearing like face masks of Tommy Robinson, which looks stupid, and a lot of people were wearing mega hats. And I don't mean that, I'm not talking like a cool street gangster. Mega means make England great again, and it's a thing that has been promoted by Elon Musk and picked up by idiots all across. Leilani Dowding was wearing a mega hat on her pinned post on Twitter and talking about how she's so gutted that she doesn't live in America. Like, her boyfriend lives in America, which is strange, you know. But who am I to cast aspersions on what an insufferable woman she might be? But anyway, so they're wearing these mega hats. This "Make England Great Again," and it basically was mostly uneventful. 6 people were arrested, but the good thing was that basically it was so poorly attended that afterwards the organisers put out a video on Twitter explaining that this disappointing turnout was probably due to the weather being really cold. So yeah. Disappointing. Disappointment from the organisers of that rally, and some other people were disappointed in the conspiracy world. Patrick Henningsen, particularly, from a 21st Century Wire. It's been a while since I would regularly visit that, but I saw this. Patrick Henningsen, really cross with Kennedy. with Robert Kennedy. Strange, eh? He wrote, "Well, friends, I've got good news for everybody. It's okay to lie at a job interview if it means that you're going to get the job." That's what people keep telling me in the comments of my post about Kennedy's own statements. Yes, who wouldn't want a leader whose moral compass spins like a broken weather vane? I've been quoting Kennedy verbatim, his own words, no spin necessary, and yet the defenders still swarm in, ready to bend over backwards to make excuses for him. So, he's either lying or he's telling the truth. And either way, it's bad. And I'm sure he would never deceive you about anything else. Just ask his wives. Ooh, that's bitchy. Which I quite like. Anyway, and then he quotes RFK at the Senate hearing. "I recommend that children follow the CDC schedule, and I will support the CDC schedule when I get in there," which is a reference to vaccinations. So Patrick continues, "How sad it is for people who will hear Kennedy supporting this and then go out and get their children or themselves to become human pincushions." And it's like, I don't know if that's strictly how it works, if I'm brutally honest. I don't think people are sat there like with their shoes half tied and one arm in their coat, waiting to see what Kennedy says. "Yep, he's confirmed it. Quickly, get the Uber. Get the Uber, Carol. Come on, we're going to go and get our vaccinations." But yeah, hey ho. He's also disappointed in him because he said that he will support the development and distribution of vaccines for the avian flu. And he continues, "Nothing like a good bait and switch." He also says that Operation Warp Speed was an extraordinary accomplishment. So it's tricky waters, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? Because RFK is, I mean, to me, in the hearing, he came across as an absolutely unhinged lunatic. But this isn't good enough for Patrick Henningsen or the good folks at 21st Century Wire. They like, but what's crazy as well is that he's actually kind of right. People are justifying it by saying it's all right. He's lying in job interviews. Everyone lies in job interviews to get the job. It's like, that's not somebody that you want in this particular job.
Definitely not.
And, you know, does everybody lie in job interviews? I mean, the problem with lying in a job interview is that you'll end up with a job that you're not really qualified to do. And sooner or later, you'll get found out. Like, well, actually, you might be able to fake it till you make it. I had a friend that got in with this oil firm in Saudi Arabia and then got shares of the company when the company liquidated. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He was constantly like, "I'm going to get sacked any second." And he's now a millionaire. So that's how life works out sometimes. But yeah, so this is the problem that IFK is going to face. But this is kind of what we said with the very first one. There's this schism with acceptable public face and what you actually want to do, and the language that you're using when appealing to hardcore fans, casual fans, or the general public who probably won't go along with that. And it's it's a balancing act, isn't it, basically? But again, it tends to speak to the disingenuous nature of this type of actor, so to speak, because why would you live in a world where basically, like, you'd never know whether they're telling the truth or not? What this requires is you to have an ideology, and whatever happens, go, "Oh, it's all right. That's what was happening," which is it's literally just reminded me of like Alex Jones. There's going to be a nuclear attack in Chicago. There isn't a nuclear attack in Chicago. That's because we spoke about it and they had to change their plans. Do you know what I mean? Whatever happens, it still reinforces your original idea. If it's a white person doing a crime, it's probably a false flag. If it's a terrorist doing a crime, that's probably why we shouldn't have immigration. There's no consistency. There's never any consistency. It's doublethink, which is fascinating because essentially this is the thing that they've been fighting against for ages, supposedly. Like, isn't it? Like, you know all those fucking conspiracy memes. 1984 wasn't supposed to be a manual. No, it wasn't. But what have we got thus far? Doublethink, and the party told you to ignore the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was the party's final and I could never get this fucking quote right. And yeah, it was that one. And this is
to be
happening.
fair, like the magician showed you the trick,
Yeah,
and you're still being flabbergasted by it.
they're also burning books as well. Like what was the newspeak? This concept of there's only two genders.
Yeah.
That's newspeak. So that's three really good examples of how the MAGA administration is actually rather similar to Big Brother. An ingsoc. That's terrifying. And the fact that it's all bollocks. You know, when he meets O'Brien, sorry if I'm spoiling the book if anyone's not seen it, but when O'Brien basically reveals that they've got wine and that in the torture session where he's like, I don't necessarily believe this, and also the mythical enemies, the Goldstein, who is the leader of the resistance, never really exists. The constant changing of like, today we're at war with Eurasia. Fucking hell! They've even done the chocolate rations with the eggs.
Oh my god.
Fucking that's double plus bad. Never mind. Actually, there's no word for bad in Newspeak, is there? It's just good, double plus good. But hey ho, Jesus Christ, that is very uncomfortable. Shit. Oh dear.
Well, at least we're keeping record of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, but fucking hell, that is actually quite frightening. Hey ho. Someone else who's desperate for attention is David Icke. David Icke is he's so trying to get into fights with people at the minute, specifically Alex Jones. And bizarrely, in many ways, as we've discussed, he's right because he's calling out Alex for his selling out and he's going against his principles. I mean, he's doing it in the wrong way, and he's also wrong about everything else. But that one thing that Alex should not be on the side of Elon or Trump is absolutely right. Anyway, so in July of 2024, Patriot Takes had put out a tweet that said Alex Jones claims the deep state tried to kill Trump and will attempt to cause a race war, poison him, and will try to use a truck bomb to keep him from winning the election. Like, which is what Alex Jones does all the fucking time. There's always going to be a bioweapon release, or there's always going to be a false flag, or there's always going to be a nuclear attack, or there's always going to be a truck bomb to attack the candidate he likes. It used to be Ron Paul, then it was Donald Trump. They're always trying to poison him. The reason that basically they'll attempt to cause a race war is because he's providing cover for Trump's racist rhetoric. Like, whenever this is just a despicable thing that Alex Jones does, is that basically like he sets it up so that if one of his supporters or a supporter of Donald Trump acts out on the violent racist rhetoric that they promote, he can pretend that it's a false flag.
Yep.
Like, which is really, really shitty, basically. Anyway, obviously none of that happened, and a lot of even what is said within that by Alex Jones is self-contradictory, but let's not get bogged down. David Icke tweeted out, "This aged well. It's still not dawned on him that Trump and Vance were meant to win the election, so they could usher in the AI-controlled billionaire oligarch state behind the smokescreens of we're winning and give Israel all that it wants, what Miriam Adelson paid for. Sad and pathetic to watch." He bloody nearly got through the entire thing without being anti-Semitic, didn't he, there as well? So, you know, not bad.
I thought the same thing.
Like, yeah. Ridiculous. There was really no need to tie that in at the end at all. And of course, it's bullshit. Trump and Vance weren't meant to win. That's not how the world works. But the bit about the AI-controlled billionaire oligarch state, that seems pretty accurate, to be quite honest. He's had some misses as David Icke, but on that one, I think that's not a bad take. But yeah, but let's not be silly about it. The reason that he's doing it is to garner attention. Like he's been somewhat left behind because basically other people have been swept up in the MAGA, yeah, we're winning. As he puts out in that quote, but it's not working because he comes across as a really bitter old sod. I was looking at one that he tweeted out today, and all the comments are just like, "Oh, well, they're half and half. Half of them are basically pointing out that that Alex Jones has completely sold out on his principles, and half of them are saying, you know what, David, you're a miserable bastard, and you don't like, and we tend to think that it's just that you're jealous that no one's listening to you, and all of that is true.
Yep.
Everything, both
Yep.
sides of that
Both
argument.
sides of that are true.
Yeah, completely true. Which is yeah, crackers really. But yeah, David and Alex's back and forth will probably become a running theme. But you know what was also a running theme? Elon Musk attempting to blame anybody but himself for the failure of Twitter. And what he's decided to do, like we saw that email, didn't we? That said that basically they're really struggling to make money and even break even, and everything's all gone to shit and stuff like that. So if you were Elon Musk, let's put you in charge of Twitter. What would you do to try and sort of get out of that situation, to try and improve circumstances on Twitter, and to try and make the business more attractive for advertising revenue, for example?
I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Like, is he just going to tell people that all the advertisers to fuck off again?
It's sort of not far off. He's decided to sue them because they refused to advertise with him. So Twitter's decided that what it claims is a coordinated ad boycott, and so it's decided to sue Nestle, Abbott Laboratories, Colgate, Lego, Pinterest, Tyson Foods, and Shell. And these are fucking enormous companies that are basically just going to go sod off. But the complaint alleges that members of the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, a now defunct initiative from the advertiser trade body, the World Federation of Advertisers, illegally conspired to collectively withhold billions of dollars in advertising revenue from Twitter. It's a bold stratagem, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. Like
money that they were owed, or
no, they've
because they decided not to
advertise on Twitter. Yeah, he's suing them because he's claiming that they've illegally conspired to withhold billions of dollars in order to disrupt the business of Twitter. And it's like, you can't be serious, surely. Like, you can't be serious, right? That's like me trying to take Kate Moss to court for not going to bed with me. She's got no desire to go to bed with me. Well, she might. I don't know. I still think it's worth sending the letters. Anyway, but that is essentially what he's doing. And it's like, you can't be this petulant and petty and childlike, but evidently he can. And this is going to cost him a huge amount of money. Like you would think. And I mean, I'm not a lawyer, not full-time, not professional anyway. But I wouldn't have thought this will work. I can't see how you can sue somebody into spending money on your product. But, you know, I mean, let's not fuck about. The reason they don't want to advertise on Twitter anymore is because it's a cesspit. It's because, like, you know, you cannot go one or two scrolls without seeing racism, homophobia. Quite a lot of the time you see actual porn on there all the time now as well. Like, so you can quite understand why Lego, for example, might not want to have an advertisement next to like a sort of classic Ron Jeremy scene. It's not the market they're going for, is it? Not the demographic. Like, unless, you know, a lot of downtime on porn sets, you could be building Lego. Who's to say? That's really something for their advertising A&Rs to examine, isn't it? It's not something for me to do, and it's certainly not something that Elon Musk should dictate. So strange, to say the least. But we're now on to February the 2nd, and Elon Musk is basically going through government like a dose of the salts. His government slashing crew, the Department of Government Efficiency, has been given access to the federal payment system, exposing the sensitive personal data of millions of Americans, as well as the details of public contractors who compete directly with Elon Musk's own businesses. And this is quite worrying. Again, this is one of those things that I believe this is the emoluments clause. That applies to the president. I think that's right. You're not supposed to have. Jimmy Carter had a peanut farm, and he didn't have to, but he resigned from that or sold it or some shit. So because he said the appearance of me having a business makes it look like corruption could be possible, and so he didn't want to even entertain that. Donald Trump charged the Secret Service twice the going rate to stay in his hotels whilst they were protecting him during his official capacity as the President of the United States of America.
Wow.
Donald Trump's first act was to give all businesses a pay cut, including a tax cut, including his own businesses. And this is essentially what Elon Musk had done. So you remember that they were trying to gain access to all these systems, and they were sort of stopped from getting into the Treasury system, at least initially. But then Scott Bessent, who's the new Treasury Secretary, had granted the billionaire's DOGE team full access to the system, and the data bonanza included Social Security and Medicare benefits, grant payments to government contractors, all of it. And that's a statement from an unnamed senator. Confirmation of the arrangement suggests that Musk, the world's richest person, now has entry to one of the most sensitive US government databases. This system controls more than $6 trillion worth of federal cash flow each year. Until now, the information stored on it has been exceptionally closely guarded, with only a select few officials having clearance to control it. But the DOGE team have now been given access to it. But this is basically what happened was similar to the other building. The Treasury Department, not similar to the other building. The Treasury Department's top civil servant had retired after more than 30 years of service. David LeBrick had clashed with Musk associates over their efforts to effectively break the system. And so, according to the New York Times, LeBrick had been placed on administrative leave after he'd objected to Elon being given this access. And so he just decided to quit, because this is a man that's got principles. But call to activism also posted on Twitter. Breaking news. The Trump administration has placed 2 top security chiefs at USAID on leave after they refused to turn over classified material in restricted areas to Elon Musk's government inspection teams. Members of Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, eventually did gain access Saturday to the AIDS agency classified information. Musk's DOGE crew lacked high enough security clearance to access the information, so the 2 USAID security officials, John Voorhees and Brian McGill, were legally obligated to deny access. And so that's 3 people that basically have been forced out of positions because, again, they did their job. Now, why has Elon Musk not got access to classified data? Because his classified data clearance was refused by the American government due to his drug use, ketamine, LSD, ecstasy, and weed, and his association with foreign nationals such as Putin. So this is a man that's been previously vetted and was refused access to classified data.
So has Trump basically turned that around?
No, they just ignored it. or basically, well, at this present time, Elon's turned up with his team of Doge people, which at this present time, in the past that we're talking about now, we don't know who these people are. And I'm going to keep that under my hat, because I think when you find out who these people are, you'll be rather surprised and irritated. But when they turned up in these documents, in these buildings, just mob-handed and tried to access these systems, when they found that they couldn't, they were like, give us access. And the people whose job it was to actually look after these databases said, no, we're not doing that. One had already resigned because he was basically being forced out, and the other two were placed on administrative leave. And then Scott Bessent, who's the Secretary of the Treasury, allowed the Doge team access, whether it was Elon Musk personally. It doesn't really matter, because it's crazy. Now, guess who thought that this was brilliant?
Alex Jones.
Alex fucking Jones. So
this is
brilliant.
A recurring theme.
So brilliant he thought this was, that he decided to, I think he was drunk. And you might notice that he hasn't really been drunk a lot recently on InfoWars. He also lost a lot of weight, like a lot of weight, to the point where his mouth looks huge. And he claims that he's working out and just like eating right and stuff like that, and has stopped drinking. But the amount of weight that he's lost is astonishing. Now, eating right and doing exercise does help you lose weight. But you know what else helps you lose weight? Ozempic. And you know what is a side effect of Ozempic? It makes, when you get drunk, one, it stops you craving alcohol. And two, when you do drink on it, it makes the hangovers appalling, apparently. So is that the reason why Alex Jones has not been drinking so much recently? I think he was drunk in this particular video. He's topless, and he's lying on the floor in front of an open fire that's got a set of bull horns above it. And I don't mean the shouty through loud, make your voice things, actual horns above it. And he says that this is amazing that this single oligarch and his team has got access to the US Treasury, because it will stop banks bankrupting the world. And then he also says that hedge fund managers who are saying that Trump's tariffs will increase prices in the US is a false flag event to blame Trump for what they are actually going to do. Hedge fund managers are going to raise inflation. Now, what's interesting is that Trump has actually surrounded himself with hedge fund billionaires, and all of them are quite openly betting against the dollar. So people are looking at what Trump is doing and going like, what? Like, he appears to be trying to crash the economy. None of this seems to be making any sense. He's isolating people. He's getting into these tariff wars. Prices are already going up. Why on earth would he be doing that? Well, because all the people in his immediate circle make money if that happens. That is incredible corruption. One might even make the argument that it is treasonous. I don't think that would be far off, basically. He's also a massive fan of Scott Bessent, Alex. Scott Bessent is, as we said, the head of the Treasury, put in by Donald Trump. He's a hedge fund billionaire. Do you know where he cut his teeth?
No, go for it.
Soros Fund Management.
Oh.
Yes, that's right. He was a literal apprentice of George Soros.
I was not expecting that.
No, because, again, these people have got the consistency of a wet tissue. Like, they just don't care to look up things like that. I think actually David Icke did mention that, but most other people are just completely ignoring it because they think they're onto a winner here. But what's interesting is Scott Bessent, despite being part of the Treasury and actually sort of, being instrumental in these tariffs that Donald Trump is imposing, has previously said that tariffs are disastrous and will raise inflation. So, was he lying then, or is he lying now? Speaking of things that are disastrous, Andrew Bridgen has found a new grift. Andrew Bridgen, the disgraced, is he? No, he got voted out, isn't he? So he's no longer an MP. So
he's a disgraced MP.
Yeah, disgraced former MP,
Yep.
and an all-round disaster. Anyway, he's got a new grift. He's got this website called The Truth Contract, and it's a subscription website that costs $79.99 a month. $79.99 a month because according to him, in the promo, the truth is priceless. But it's not, is it? The price is $79.99 a month. Like, in fact, there's two tiers. In fairness, that is for the full membership, where you get exclusive insights, private webinars, interactive Q&As, nominate and vote, which isn't a sentence, networking, collaborate and contribute, which isn't really a sentence. And that's $79.99 a month. For $4.99 a month, you get a weekly executive video summary, a monthly newspaper, a vote in the Truth Contracts referenda.
What?
It has a referenda, and you get to vote in it for a mere $4.99 a month. But as you say, if you're prepared to pay $79.99 a month, collaborate and contribute.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing, isn't it? So yeah, so that's fairly shit.
Let's try it out. Let's try it out on Patreon. That should be our
contribute
and
collaborate.
Yeah. We have 2 tiers now on Patreon.
Yeah.
$4.99 or $79.99.
Jesus Christ. Some poor fucker will pay that as well. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, it's too much. That's just too much. There's nothing that you can get, like, for $79.99 a month that would be worth it on that website. It costs too much.
It's like Netflix is a tenner a month. You know what I mean? Like, you get plenty more content there.
Fucking outrageous, isn't it? But yeah. Speaking of things that cost too much, Fox News had to basically come out and list all the things that are going to be more expensive due to Trump's trade war with Canada. And obviously he's got a trade war going on with almost everybody at the minute. The EU, China, Mexico, I believe he halted that one for a bit. Various countries in South America. Everyone, as far as we can see. But he's decided to have this one in Canada until they become the 51st state, which is not a thing that's going to happen. But so Fox News, and this is bad. If Fox News is having to do this, right, okay, that means that things are even worse, to be quite honest. But they listed avocados, maple syrup, ground beef, cherry tomatoes, nuts, sugar, bananas, cooking oil, squash, cucumbers, strawberries, pineapples, Tonka trucks and toys, BMWs, Audis, Nissans, Mazdas, Fords, and they make it clear that that's parts and full cars. Crude oil, beer, alcohol, lumber, steel, and shoes. And one of the things that they don't actually mention is potash. Potash is used in farming. It's vital to American farming. They get the majority of their potash from Canada, and farming can be a tricky old business sometimes. The rise in tariffs on potash, a lot of people have suggested would make it so that it was prohibitive for certain farms to exist, because the cost of this, which is vital to running the farm, would be far, far too high and would eat into their profits too much, and even have them running at a loss potentially. So this is a stupid idea by Donald Trump, unless of course you take the viewpoint that, well, he's doing this to appease his hedge fund manager friends, which certainly seems to be the way, because they're profiting from this. And what's interesting is that Trump he came out on the television and admitted that his plan for a trade war might actually raise prices. He acknowledged that his move to slap tariffs on some of the country's biggest trading partners might actually have negative effects on US citizens. So he said, at a press conference. Will there be some pain? Yes, and maybe not. Oh no, sorry, he wrote this in all caps on his Truth Social platform. That we will. So, will there be some pain? Yes, maybe. Brackets, and maybe not! Exclamation point, close brackets.
Yes, maybe not.
Fucking, like, if he said, that's why I thought he said it, because it's like, he rambles a bit, and that might, fair enough. But if you wrote that down and probably showed it to someone before you put it out, that's stupid. But we will make America great again, and it will be worth the price that must be paid. And this is basically despite campaigning on reducing the price of fuel and eggs. But basically, very much like the scene in 1984, all of the MAGA crowd started going on about how they're absolutely fine paying more for the cause, because this is going to make America great again. And they've never really been bothered about the price of eggs or fuel or something. And like people like the Hodge twins and Gunther Eagleman and stuff like that were being just called out all over the place, just like reams and reams of their previous tweets were screenshotted and like, this is you 3 fucking weeks ago. Shut the fuck up. But again, there's just no integrity. But in a separate post, Trump called again for Canada to become a US state, whilst also claiming that the USA pays hundreds of billions of dollars to subsidize Canada, which is absolutely not true. He says, the US pays hundreds of billions of dollars to subsidize, in all caps, Canada. Without this massive subsidy, Canada ceases to exist as a viable country. Therefore, Canada should become our cherished 51st state. Claiming that the move would bring much lower taxes and far better military protection for the people of Canada. And no tariffs, in all caps. You've put the tariffs on. That's literal gangster shit. That's like, your windows will stop breaking if you pay insurance to me. Like, but also it's like far better military protection. Is that really one of the things that is worrying the citizens of Canada? They get up every morning and they look out over their quite beautiful country and go, fuck, we need more military to protect this shit. Like, from who? Like, seriously, who?
Him.
Exactly. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, he's just a nutcase. But again, I suspect he's partly just creating chaos to affect the markets, and I think it's partly just because it's flooding the zone with shit, which he thinks that he can get away with. So Elon Musk then comes out and he retweets this far-right Twitter twat called Konoika the Great. And he insinuates that the CIA created COVID in a lab. And he also claims that this charitable organization, USAID, which obviously Elon has already said he wants to destroy, which provides money for charity-type things abroad, is actually an evil CIA front organization, which would justify Elon's recent call for them to stop all funding for USAID. Remember, they lied and said the things like the $50 million worth of condoms and stuff like that.
Yep.
Again, that might become somewhat of a running theme as we go on through these episodes.
God, they're lying.
yeah, basically. USAID's decentralized network of resident field missions is drawn on to manage the US government's programs in low-income countries for a range of purposes, but mainly, and this is what Elon Musk wants to cut, disaster relief, poverty relief, technical cooperation on global issues, including the environment, US bilateral interests, and socio-economic development. And all of these sorts of things really help benefit America. Because, I mean, let's just say, we've said this before, but let's just appeal to, say, Alex Jones. One of the things that Alex Jones really hates about the ongoing genocide in Palestine is not the fact that Palestinians are being killed, it's the fact that they might try and flee that genocide and come to America. And also, a lot of the asylum seekers that are being housed in hotels in the UK are coming from various conflicts. Syria was one of them, across the world. So if intervention can help make their situation more comfortable, then this reduces all of these things. But for whatever reason, they've just decided to go whole hog with this. And Elon Musk decided that he really needed to let the world know something. So he tweets out, "Did you know that USAID, using your tax dollars, funded bioweapon research, including COVID-19, that killed millions of people?" That's fucking nuts. Elon Musk has just come out on Twitter and accused USAID, this charitable organisation, of creating COVID-19, which, by the way, he previously dallied with pretending doesn't exist and then saying it was just a cold, and then having a go at all the measures. I don't know if he's gone full anti-vax on it, but he's certainly dallied with that audience. He's now putting out that it was a bioweapon, insinuating it came from a lab, and saying that USAID was responsible for its creation, which is not true, because it's not the sort of thing that they do.
It's literally propaganda, using like this information to target like a department that he's after at the minute.
And he's after for reasons that don't seem to make any sense, and accusing them of all sorts of terrible things when they actually do really, really good things. And it just, it's barking fucking mad. He also tweeted out, "USAID is a criminal organisation. Time for it to die." This is the man who they've put in charge of making the government more efficient. Like, it's horrific. David Icke decided that he wanted to respond to Elon's original message in his own inimitable style. So, Elon Musk, as you remember, put out, "Did you know that USAID, using your tax dollars, funded bioweapon research, including COVID-19, that killed millions of people?" And this obviously upset David Icke. David Icke tweeted out, "Did you know there was no COVID? Did you know that the real bioweapon was the deadly fake vaccine, which Trump claims credit for, and you announced in 2020 that Tesla's RNA vaccine printer for CureVac is going to be an important product for the world? Take this post as some sort of community note." And that's just all sorts of batshit. Like, David Icke is still going with the fact that this idea that COVID has never been proven to exist and there was no virus, which is, that makes the reptilian aliens look sensible and plausible. Like, I cannot believe that that's the hill that he's trying to die on, especially because, like, I mean, there's all sorts of. I mean, he's been ill recently, like with symptoms that seem to mimic COVID. Like, but it's just stupid. It's like, it's been shown to exist numerous times. It's just, I can't get my head around that. Like, honestly, what do you do with that one? Like, seriously, where'd you go with that?
He thinks something that exists doesn't exist, and then he thinks that something that doesn't exist exists.
Yeah. It's and you do wonder at what point it's a grift, and at what point he's totted over into actual insanity, because it's just bullshit. But it's also so dangerous and so pointless. Like, it literally makes no sense. Like, the anti-vax stuff is fucking ridiculous, right? Okay, and that is also dangerous. But at least there's a coherent, wrong, stupid, but I understand the narrative behind it. I understand why people think why they think, because they've been given stupid advice, they've made silly correlations, and they've listened to liars who are out to make money. But this concept that there was no COVID doesn't make sense on any level. Surely everybody knows somebody that had COVID by now.
And before the vaccine rollout.
Yeah. And with people that say it was just the flu rebranded, it's like, okay, fine. Why were there 10 times the normal amount of deaths before the vaccine? All right, well, I'll go with that. I don't believe it, but for the sake of this conversation, it was the flu. What happened to make that flu 10 times more deadly than normal? You've got to ignore so many things. Why were there so many people in fucking hospital wards? That doesn't normally happen with the flu. There were more people there. Because they closed down the other wards. Nonsense. You can look at the admission figures and see how many people, how overwhelming it was, and the contagion, the abnormal contagion that required the shutting down of other facilities so that they had that space where it was contagion free, that sort of airlock system. Right? There's so many different things that you could say that your theory doesn't hold water. It's absolutely stupid. It's so stupid. It beggars belief. Speaking of things that are so stupid they beg a belief, strange, bald internet weirdo, former friend of neo-Nazi Weave, Tim Pool, decided to tweet out his insightful opinion on the geopolitical situation that is unfolding between America and its most northerly neighbour, Canada. And it makes me wonder whether he might have studied political sciences at university. Tim Pool said, "After we destroy the Canadian economy, their will to resist will erode. We will then march in unopposed and deliver Canada to its rightful place as a territory of the US with no political representation." What the fucking fuck?
Wow. That was some LARPing shit right there.
He means it. Like, he absolutely means it. Like, it's so crazy that people are trying so desperately to be sycophantic to maniacs that they just appear to have gone completely fucking mad. Honestly, I did tell you, man. That's the world according to some.
Okay, now.